Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here on Sunday the 25th of January. This is your look ahead video at weatherweb.net. Thanks again for watching. Well, the theme is still on cold weather coming in at the end of this week. More on that in just a moment, but first, and it's all a bit murky out here in West Wales this morning. This is the picture looking eastward. You can see there how the tops of the hills look shrouded in low cloud, and that's exactly what you'd expect to see given that we have a warm front just moving its way eastwards at the moment. That's the frontal chart for this afternoon. Here's the warm front look dragging its way eastwards, and in between the warm front and the cold front we get the area that's called the warm sector, and that's well known for this low cloud and for the drizzle that it can bring, particularly on windward facing coasts and hills. And I explain way more about fronts and the weather they bring in my Weatherwise DVD. It's just a short series of videos lasting about 5 minutes each, runs for 2 hours, but I explain all about warm fronts, about warm sectors, about the weather that you can expect, and also about air masses, clouds, highs and low pressure, and it's done, believe me, in a very easy to understand and enjoyable way. Basically because that's the only way I understand it. But you can order the DVD from the website right now, and thanks for many of you who've already got it, telling me how much you enjoy it, that you keep going back and referring back to it, particularly when I mention something on the video. So thanks for that. But certainly very good agreement between the models now on this development. This is the 7 to 10 day mean of the 500 millibar flow, running from next Sunday through to Wednesday the 4th of February. And interesting to note this pattern now developing around the hemisphere look. We've got ridge, 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 and then we've got trough, 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 trough. That normally sets us up for quite a mobile situation, but one that can become blocked quite easily, and it looks as if it's going to try and do that. There's some discrepancy between the models as to how blocked this pattern actually becomes, but nonetheless that shape you see there in the 500 millibar flow is one that we look for. ECMWF is on the left here, GFS is on the right, and notice the deep trough across the eastern parts of the states. That results in the ridge in the central Atlantic, and then the trough down through Europe. And you notice there both models essentially the same. GFS probably makes a little bit less of the northern tip of the ridge, but nonetheless it's that ridge trough effect across the Atlantic and Europe that's going to be causing this northerly plunge and bringing the colder air down across the country. Interesting to note as well the cross-polar flow there. Look, if you take a look at the ECMWF, just follow the isoheight lines around here, look, comes directly across the pole down through the UK. So with that 500 millibar flow being so cold, it's going to be an unstable flow, and it will be dragging in ever colder air at the surface, and that lines us up for the risk of some sleet and some snow. The ECMWF 850 temperature trend shows it as well. Look, this rise in temperature early on in the week, and then look, this fall off during the latter stages of the week. Not quite so cold as it was yesterday, but certainly cold enough. Now, of course, it's a long way away, isn't it? Things can change, but it just looks as if this downward sloping temperature is certainly on the cards. I'll just show you this chart as an example, really, of where we could be sometime next weekend into the early stage of next week. Officially, this is the GFS snow depth forecast chart for next Friday morning, 30th of January. Treat this with an absolute pinch of salt, but it gives us a good idea as to the geographical locations of where snow may be really any time through next weekend into the beginning of the week after. And you notice it's mainly northern and western areas due to this northwesterly flow, and I think just about anywhere is at risk of snow cover by the time we get into next weekend, but it will be that north and west that we need to watch most closely. I was telling you yesterday about polar lows spinning up in this northerly flow. It's something that could easily happen, and the polar low is a well-known phenomena. Basically what happens is you get a northerly flow of cold air, deeply destabilised air through the winter months, and those little features just spin up and then come southwards, bringing more persistent snow showers. But I don't want to, I'm trying not to hype this up too much, and I don't want to run away with the Snowmageddon ideas again. It's just that it does look like it's a wintry outbreak. It may last for perhaps 5 or 10 days. This is the GFS mean of the 500 millibar flow, that's the CFS mean of the 500 millibar flow from the website of Levi Cohen. And what it's showing us here is the forecast for the next 5 days, running up to the 30th of January. Notice the ridge here off the Atlantic. Look, there's the trough across Europe. And this is the temperature anomaly as predicted by the CFS for the next 5 days. And notice generally above normal. Then we go into the second 5-day period. So this is really where the cold weather starts, and it almost ties in completely with this period from the 30th of January through to the 4th of February. Just look at that deep trough there settling across Europe, and the jet on that is pretty clearly seen. It's through here, so it's taking that shape there, and this really is the start of the cold weather coming in. And there we are, look, the temperature anomaly showing those temperatures down at around 3-4 degrees Celsius, possibly below normal across much of the UK, and notice too across much of Central Europe and through Scandinavia too. Incidentally, this orange colour here is because of the resultant southerly flow that kicks in because of the northerly flow here coming down through the British Isles. At the moment, the CFS then sees the flow trying to get back more into a westerly through the 11 to 15 day period from the 4th to the 5th of February. That doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily that much warmer, but just perhaps not quite so cold. Although still on the chilly side, as you see there from the temperature anomalies. I'm just not sure that's going to happen quite that quickly. I think if this northerly flow does get in, then it could be that it's in till around about the 7th of the month. Although it does tie in better with our long ranges. Then 9th to the 14th of February, we're still on the cold side of the jet, which is kind of going through there like that. Brings us a more unsettled flow for that middle part of February, still on the cool side. Particularly across the north of the country, CFS again, temperature anomalies picking up on those ideas of the north being cooler than normal, but look, a bit milder than normal down to the south as that west-southwesterly kicks in. And then the CFS tries to just maintain that flow into the second half of the month. We've got a split jet stream then. We've got one going up here. We've got a section of it going down here. And what we might find, though, those two conglomerated together, which I think this is trying to show as a westerly jet trying to get through the country, bringing probably temperatures above normal across many parts of the south of the country and staying on that unsettled side. And I can buy into that. So it's a watch on winter then during this week. As I say, I know you're way more sensible than to run away with the kind of tabloid headline ideas. Because we are in January going into February, and if we do get northerly winter, what do you expect? It's going to be turning colder, isn't it? And I know you'll treat this as just being a normal winter outbreak, but one that could bring snow to many of us. So we'll keep you informed anyway on that right the way throughout the course of the week here at weatherweb.net. Don't forget the fast forecast if you want to forecast for the next couple of days. But whatever you're doing for now, thanks for watching, keep the sun shining, and bye for now.